we're going to show you something interesting that you can do in order to find some keywords to use in your profile. So, has anyone ever used the create resume function on LinkedIn? So this is
free. Oh, Catherine says yes.
okay. So just a quick look at this. When you come in, you're able to, and we are not suggesting that you use a LinkedIn resume. That's not what we're showing you. We're showing you, and what I had put, I think, was marketing director for a potential resume, senior director of marketing. On this side area, it shows you what some of the keywords are that are found in your profile and what you could add to create a better profile as far as including keywords. So that's one thing that you can do to see kind of how you're stacking up with your LinkedIn profile. The other thing that we were going to talk very quickly about, and then we'll get into looking up some of the people who have given us their profiles, is what it means to have an all-star profile. And it used to be that LinkedIn called it 100% complete profile. Now it's all-star profile. And we have an example of that for you. I'm having a little trouble opening something up real quick. So give me just 1 second to see if I can get, here we go. Okay. So I'm going to show you a profile. One of the questions that we got from the last session was, do you have an example of a profile that does everything right? Everyone doesn't do that. We don't have one specific profile that someone does everything right, but we found one that's pretty good, right? So this is someone that is in another group that Shiana and I are both in. The elements of a professional all-star profile with LinkedIn, and these are specifically coming from LinkedIn. The first is having a professional photo, showing that you're approachable, you're looking at the camera, you can see your face, you're dressed appropriately for the role that you're looking for. So for instance, if you are with a marketing agency, you can be casual. If you're in an environment that is very casual, you have to dress to the part that you're playing and your industry and the environment that you're going to be in. If you're a job seeker and you aren't working, we recommend that you have the open to work profile. We do have an FAQ document that we'll be distributing after this call that talks a little bit more about why we think that is the case. But short and long is that Misty McDaniel here has over 2,000 followers. There's no way she can let her entire network know that she's looking for a role. So her network sees this, they're able to know that she might be looking for something, and she can be top of mind as far as what she's looking for. They also can see what types of roles she's looking for. So that is why you want your open to work on if you are a job seeker. Profiles that have a professional photo get 21 times more views on LinkedIn and 9 times more connection requests. So this is something that is really critical. The second step is to complete your summary. So you see Misty has her summary completed here. She's filled out everything. You want your summary to be readable and to have highlights from your career, to have your core competencies, and super important, have contact information, especially if you are in a job search. because, and ideally even a phone number. I've had a lot of people that have said, I don't want to put my phone number on a public profile. It's very simple to set up a Google Voice that will route to your phone so that you can turn it off once you've finished your job search and it's not directly listed with you. So it is something that we recommend a lot of times, and Lise can attest to this. We'll see someone as a recruiter and want to get in touch with them immediately because we have a job that we're interested in talking to them about, and it's frustrating when we can't find their information. So that is critical. Did someone have a question?
Hey, Cindy,
Yes.
Cindy,
Yes.
there's a hand raised and there's
Sure.
been a few questions in chat
Okay.
as you've been going through some of these elements. So let's get to you, Jennifer, and then we'll address a couple of more questions that have come in through chat.
Hey, Cindy, thanks for this.
Sure.
You said with the open to work that the network can see what kinds of jobs Misty is looking for. Can you explain that a little bit more? Are they able to see
Absolutely.
your job
So are you
searches?
seeing,
Yeah.
you seeing my
Yep.
my Misty's
Yep.
LinkedIn profile? Okay, so
I am.
I am not on LinkedIn Recruiter right here. So this is the profile that her network sees. So she's open to work, but also down here, you're able to see all of the details of what Misty is looking for. And you get a kind of a snippet of that, which we also recommend when you turn on open to work, you list director of management consulting, senior director of marketing, you list multiple titles that you'd be looking for. So she has several listed here. She has
That's super helpful.
places
Thank you.
chosen. Sure, no problem.
Yeah, I wasn't familiar with that.
No problem.
There's another question that came in, Cindy, on the open to work banner. Can you at least touch on using it, using the green banner versus the other option, which is the open to work to only recruiters, and the kind of the benefits for C-suite versus lower level?
So, and Lise, one thing y'all will find is, and Lise tends to agree with me. She might not agree with my take on this, but we can see. If you are open to work and you are looking for work, turn your open to work banner on there. And I will probably be doing a little coffee and careers side session with an expert that I bring on very often for that. It does not. Maybe right when COVID started happening and the open to work banner came out, there was a little bit of a stigma to it. There's not. There are many recruiters that look for that open to work banner. It's easy to see. And the only time that I would say don't turn your open to work green banner on is if you are currently working. Not a great idea. Use the option that only recruiters see. But the benefits far outweigh the concerns of any type of stigma. You just need to understand, and I know I've heard that I've had job seekers say, oh, well, scams happen. Well, scams happen everywhere. I get scammed all the time on text and emails from people going and finding my email address and contact information on the Kindred website and reaching out to me saying there's someone that needs gift certificates and can I go buy them? It's the way of the world right now. So the benefit of having your connections that you might not be able to reach out to directly and let them know that you're looking and having them aware of the fact that you're in a search, it is very vital. Networking is a huge part of your job search. So there are also recruiters in companies that are smaller that don't have LinkedIn Recruiter, that don't have access to the tool that will allow them to know that you're open to work. So and Lisa, I'll let you I'll see what else you want to add with that. But I feel very strongly about it. I think it's bad advice to tell people that you're going to be judged or it's not a good idea to have the open to work.
I absolutely agree with you, Cindy. I think, and to your point, so it's LinkedIn Recruiter is a paid feature that many companies don't invest in, and the ones that do often will have to share seats across recruiters. And so I just think, it just makes the most sense to, if you're actively looking for work, even if you're currently employed, as long as your employer knows you're actively looking for work, then fine, put it on. And if not, then yes, just make it open to work for recruiters to see the activity. So if you hide it so that only recruiters, it's only visible to recruiters, it's only going to show up to recruiters outside of your current employer, whoever you have listed as your current employer. And we'll talk about best practices for that. I know that can come up in a previous session as well about how do I list my chief membership and how do I list it if I'm not currently employed and that sort of thing. But we'll talk about that. But for open to work, absolutely encourage using it. Fill out the details if you're actively looking so that recruiters across the board can see it and reach out to you.
And then just as you're going through this, Cindy and Lise, initially you had gone through and shared the keywording function, Cindy. Once you're done with Misty's profile, could we just revisit that? We had a few questions in chat on how you got to that page.
Okay, so this page, yes, and this is, so FYI, I got to this page because Misty connected me. But we are going to reverse engineer, and we will show you Recruiter, which you can see right here. I have this handy little tool that I can click on and say view in Recruiter. And then this is how her profile looks in Recruiter. So I have different activity, and I can probably, I can certainly go through this from the recruiter perspective, and we can absolutely talk about how we would use keywords to find someone, and we'll probably do it. We will do it with several of your profiles and information you've given us. But so the complete summary, this is something that recruiters will read. If it's succinct and it tells a good story, we're more likely to read it. It's a great place to give us an overview. Think of it almost as your cover letter, but it's also another place to get your keywords in and give a little bit of your personality. As the daughter and a coach of a retail business owner, I learned at a young age, she's telling her story, right? Include at least 3 to 5 accomplishments or career highlights. Now, this is the one thing, and it's interesting, we've learned this recently, a different way of doing this, that we would say. So the other part of an all-star profile is having your experiences, at least 2 experiences. Now, everyone here is going to have more than that, right? But you need to have at least 2 experiences listed. Members that have more than one position are 36 times more likely to be found by recruiters. Almost said computers, that too, but through recruiters. So anyway, this right here, currently seeking director of customer success, director consulting, client partner. We have several examples of profiles in the FAQ document that show how to create a good headline, and then also how to work with this. We would take out the currently seeking and put the roles that you're looking for. Instead of having currently seeking new opportunity, which shows up here on, it shows up on the version that we were looking at on her site, currently seeking new opportunity, which you don't want to have that there because you already have your open to work on, right? We recommend putting your industry. So it's another place that you can put, professional services consulting, and just tab through it. It's going to start suggesting different companies. Just tab through it, make sure that you choose your industry, and it'll show up at the top of your profile on regular. It's another place that when we use industry keywords, we'll find you. She also has her core competencies here, a little bit about what she does. And again, she has her, I mean, I love Misty. She has her link. Again, I can reach her. Only better thing would be as if she had her phone number and I could pick up the phone and call her. And Lisa, I'm sure you agree with me on this one.
I agree. And she may have done that intentionally. So maybe she's trying not to get phone calls directly, but absolutely. Because again, your contact information, we can only see if you've applied to a position with us, if you've made it public to everybody. So if the recruiter happens to have a paid account with LinkedIn, like there's so many barriers then you're putting in place to people getting in contact with you if you're actively looking for a role.
So, I love the way she has gone through her, and it's a ton of information, right? This might not be what shows up on her resume. LinkedIn is not a resume. You can put more information. You are working with SEO to try to be found. That's part of what we'll go through with keywords, but she has this great succinct kind of, summarization of what this role was. She has, a description of what she's done. She has these great results. She talks about the core expertise that she used during this role. Then, and this is something new, and LinkedIn changes. And I think we're going to go through and figure out what a regular cadence of doing these sessions with y'all is. But Lise is privy to, is it a monthly meeting or?
Yeah, they do
Yeah.
quarterly minimum and then monthly product updates. So at least at a minimum, there's quarterly updates.
Yeah, we're able to tell you any new updates, but this just changed where you can create your 50 skills and then you can associate your skills with your experience. So you get them in a couple of places and you get to show recruiters and potential employers what your current skills that you've been using are. So be sure to complete that. Use standard job titles, like don't, chief happiness officer or something. If you have a really creative title, that's great. Put it in there, but also put a standard title because that's what recruiters search on. And that's what you'll be found on. So that is something to keep in mind. Keeping it nice and bulleted where it can be read through. And then you need to add your industry and location. You do that up here. So put that information in. So you'll see, even if Misty has her phone number in public, they did this a while back with Recruiter. We can't see it. We used to be able to see it if she had her contact information. We don't. That's why we say, please put it in your profile. The other thing that you need to do to get a 100% complete profile or an all-star profile is add skills and endorsements. So add your 50 skills. Make sure they're the most relevant skills applicable to the next role you're looking for, and then go put them into your expertise, your experiences. Skills with the most endorsements are indexed higher. So you do, and that's something that I learned recently. So I used to say, the endorsements, they're worthless. Mine's turned on now. So I'm requesting endorsements. So what you might want to do is if you have 3 skills or 6 specific skills that you want to be found on, send requests to your friends and say, can you endorse me on this skill, please? So that you get that indexing higher. Shiana, I saw you turn your mute off. Or you can ask a question.
I was. So is that something that changed recently because the endorsements matter? Because the last I heard, it was sort of, call your list of skills so that it's for essentially the roles you're looking for next, right? Because I have endorsements from 15 years ago that are not necessarily relevant to where I want to go next.
So then take those. So what I would recommend is take those skills off and put something that's more relevant.
But then do I need to ask people to endorse me for those skills for them to be
For them to start ranking higher, you can choose the 3 that show up on the top. And then if you request on your top 6, I mean, you have to do it on everything, right? But if you have a skill that's super important that you don't have any endorsements on, I would at least try to get a few. And Lise, what are you?
You'll show up higher. So,
Yeah.
so the more endorsements you can get for those specific skills, because remember, you've got those skills, and you assign them to different roles, but there might be overlap there, but the more endorsements you can get for them, the higher you'll show up in search results for those specific skills. So you do want it to be relevant to your current role. You want it to be relevant to your future, like where you're targeting, where you want to go. So you want to start there and make sure that those skills are most important. We talked a little bit about that in the last session about just making sure, if you've got your ideal job, ideal career move, that you're looking at what are the role descriptions for that from my target companies. Let's pick 5 job descriptions, pull out the key skills for that and make sure that those are on my profile. So I'm showing up in those searches. You then want endorsements for those. So when recruiters are searching for you, you show up higher in those search results. And there is a feature on LinkedIn. So when you go to your skills section, you can actually turn it on so that you can receive endorsements on all of your skills. And then you will need to ask people to endorse you.
Have
On
you
the
seen
specific- on the most
important-
important skills, right? Yes.
I have a question on that. In terms of the roles that you're looking at, first of all, thank you both. This is excellent advice. I'd missed the first session, so I'm really happy to be able to join here.
Glad you're here.
In the skills for like some of the leadership roles that would be, in the list of things that I think most of this group is looking at, do you find it more important to have things like team leadership, organizational design, that kind of stuff, versus some of the hard skills that might be involved in the role, like, different types of tactics within marketing or whatever function it is?
I search on hard skills. Always.
Agreed.
So
The interview portion, I think, is where you're going to start assessing behavioral skills.
Right.
I mean, it's still important to have some of those, like team leadership. I mean, that, people management, but like certain things might need to still be on your profile. But for the most part, if you've got a finite list of skills or number that you can use, like focus on those hard skills, because the rest they'll assess in behavioral interviews as you move through the process.
And some of those skills at the level that most of y'all are at are table stakes, right? Like, I mean, it's kind of, if you have to have a degree to get to team leadership, strategic planning, actually, I'm looking at this, right? It should be in there, but things like communication skills, hoping you have that. So just think through those things. And, those are some of the things that you might consider dropping off and putting in what you want to be found for. Is that helpful? Okay, great. And then
Hey,
the next,
just quickly before we move on, there was someone else with their hand raised, but may have lowered their hand.
Oh,
If you-
I had my hand raised.
hey, Courtney.
Hey, how are you guys? I know you somewhat answered it already, but when you're reaching out about endorsements, is there a formal way to do it where it just sends them a note, or are you just referring to you just send someone either an email, contact them somehow, or send them a note through LinkedIn? Or is there a formal way to kind of just shoot off a couple of requests for endorsements?
Lise, do you want to take that? And I'm going to go to my profile and kind of, so.
Yeah, I think
Add on to the
Sure,
same
go for it.
question. Also, if you could just show us how to remove some of the previous endorsements you
Sure.
mentioned,
Yeah.
that would be awesome. Thank you.
So I'm going to go to my skills section. And, here's where my endorsements I've received endorsements.
So if you go up to the top too, Cindy.
Thank you, Lise.
Yep, go up to the top, and then in the right-hand corner, those 3 dots next to
Yes,
demonstrate
there are the
skills.
dots.
There
So
you go.
can reorder, you can put your top 3, and then here's your endorsement settings.
So by clicking these, LinkedIn will push it out to your connections, to your networks that also have similar skills listed in their profile mainly, but then also like your connections, like first degree connections, and they'll push it out for suggestions so that so it kind of prompts them to do it. That's number one. So if you turn these on, LinkedIn will do some of that work for you.
Right.
You then can also reach out to people individually to request that and say, hey, can you endorse me? I think it depends on the relationship. Not
Yeah.
everyone's comfortable
Right.
with that,
You know,
right?
if you
So
want to say, yeah, I mean, you know, and I was reading this internet, you know, send it to your friends and family. Hey, I need to pick this up. Could you please endorse this skill? You know, and so
Send it
yes,
to your
it is-
pod.
It
Send it
is
to
a
your
little
pod.
manual. You know, working on getting some of the endorsements there. And let's see. So as far as removing what you are, you know, what you've been endorsed for, I don't know specifically if you can remove endorsements. I'm not sure if you know that, Lisa. It might be something we can ask LinkedIn.
Yeah, you have to. So I think it depends. So back to the skills. So if it's a relevant skill that you still want to have on your profile, or that if it's not a relevant skill that you like to remove from your profile, that's the easiest way to do it. You just
Yeah.
remove the entire skill. Otherwise, what you can do if you want to kind of just change who can see them, like you can't, I don't think you can remove specific people from endorsing you, but if you click the little pencil next to just one of your endorsed skills, Cindy, there is an option if you scroll down you have to, you might have to pick one that actually has an endorsement on it just to show them.
I thought that one. Oh yeah, I guess I'm career.
Yeah, just show them that marketing might be a good one. So you should have an option to show or hide.
Yes.
Yeah, so show or hide endorsements. There you go. Oh, you can. Okay, so
and
you can
specifically, if you don't like one person, you can take them out.
So that's
apparently,
new.
but-
That's new.
Yeah.
Before it was just one size fits all, but this is better.
Yeah. So yes, and so not sure how does that affect the algorithm? I wonder.
So the more endorsements you have, the better it is. So that the endorsement still sits on the skill
it'll
itself. So it doesn't
still
really
sit there.
change it doesn't really change the ranking of it necessarily,
yeah.
but you will rank higher. Now for marketing strategy, you're going to rank really high in search results because you've got some.
I wonder what happens if we'll investigate this a little more and more to be continued, but we'll see, like if I were to delete recruiting right now, would I lose the 87 endorsements if I added it back in? We'll find some things out like that for y'all. I don't want to spend this whole time on that, but
just one quick thing, Cindy, if you don't mind, just because we're on this page already, or you're in LinkedIn, but just to show, I think there was a question about recommendations as well.
Yes.
Requesting recommendations is slightly different. So if you want to search for my profile, we can probably just show them just really quickly how you would do it. So you would find somebody that you want to write the recommendation for you, and you can request it in LinkedIn as well. So you don't necessarily need to send them. Yeah, so you can pick me, and then just next.
Let them know that you've done it too, because I found several that I feel so bad. I've gotten requests from 20 years ago that I never saw. I'm not sure if it's better now, but okay, remind me how to do.
And
this.
just click on my name. Yeah, just click on my profile, my actual. So you open up into my profile, and then it's those three under more. If you scroll down, so there's request a recommendation as well. And you can also give a recommendation this way.
So you can do this, you can say what position, and then you can ask them to write a recommendation, or you could say, would love it if you'd write me a recommendation, something to the effect of this. And, let them know what, and a lot of times that's helpful for me because I'll just put it a little bit in my own words, but take that and use it. So just make sure they've received it when you send.
And one other quick point on recommendations, you get to approve them when they come in,
Right.
And before they're posted on your profile. And what I have done in previous occasions is I've asked, there are specific things that maybe I wanted a quick edit on. I've gone back to them and they can do that, make that quick edit before you actually post it on your profile. So it's not going to be automatically posted.
Absolutely. Okay, so the very last, and we'll get this out to everyone, but the very last thing that I know everyone has here for an all-star profile is having at least 50 connections. So Y'all have that. If you have all those things, then you have an all-star profile. And then we have kind of the power profile that you should do. And you'll see Lise has done it. LinkedIn.com, Lise Vogt, she has her customized URL, personalized URL. Something important about this, I've worked with a couple of people in the past month that I couldn't find on LinkedIn, or they had a completely different name on. So if you get married, divorced, you know, whatever, change your name, and your name says Lise Vogt, but your name really is Lise Miller, and your personal profile is Lise Miller, you've got to fix it. So, you know, be consistent across your personalized URL, the name that you use, your resume, your email signatures. It makes sure everything is consistent. And if your name is Jane Smith, use your middle name and make sure that you are the one that comes up for your full name. I have a story that I tell about a client that we had presented a candidate, and they called us up, and I ended up having to have a very difficult conversation because they said, I found him on LinkedIn and he's a naked DJ. And I was like, what in the world? And I had to call the guy and ask him, do you do? And he said, oh, no. I make my profile very, you know, it's very hard to find it. And that is not what you're trying to do when you're in a job search. You want to be found consistently, and don't be a naked DJ. So, you know, like, just make sure that, and I know it's kind of whatever, but you'll remember that, right? You just consistency across, make sure you are found for you. And, you know, that is super, super important. The cover image, Lise has our cover image for Kindred, right? But this is the kind of cover you want to pick out something that's relevant for if you're doing networking and you have a networking image, or if you have it, just find an image that works with your industry, what you're doing, put your name very clear, pick 2 or 3 key things that you do that is your expertise. And ideally, it's going to be shocking that I'm going to say this, but put your contact information in the cover. Make it easy for recruiters. So this is something that, you know, make sure that it's framed properly. Like Misty has it so that all of her information is here, and you can see it. You don't want part of the message to be, you know, underneath the headline. The other thing you want to do is look at this image and look at how it shows up on mobile, and make sure that it's showing up correctly on mobile. With a headline, you're including job titles, and, you know, keywords. We have several examples in the FAQ. One thing that we do think is important, there's been questions about where to and how to list chief. Definitely, Shiana, I'm going to use you as a quick example right now. Can I show how you have yours?
Go for it. Yeah.
So you put chief member. So you can put your titles that you're looking for, any important organizations that you're in, team leader. This is another place for, you know, if you don't want to waste it on your keywords, you know, team leadership, if that's important to you, you can put it in. So that's a good example of a profile. And then you also, something that's great for Shiana, she has a follow me, so I can click and follow her. And we talked about recommendations. One thing, Lise, will you tell how you use recommendations with our clients?
Yes, no, happy to. And I think so, especially if they're coming from, if they've worked in a similar client space. So if they are, I'll use professional services as a recent example. We've got a client we're working within the global professional services industry. We've got candidates that have worked in global professional services, that have many recommendations from others within the industry, and some even from that particular new client. and that we point to and say, you know, not only have they brought this record, this history in the industry or this relevant experience, they've also, you can see, got a demonstrated record of success, because look at the individuals that are endorsing recommending them for this similar position or for their past work. So it's really helpful to see. And so definitely something you should have on your profile.
And Lisa, I was opening up LinkedIn Recruiter, but do we want to do what we did last time where you open
Sure.
and share
Sure.
and I test you on some? Okay.
Hey,
Yes. let's do
Cindy
it.
and Lise, before
have
you
some
do
questions.
that, could we just go back to initially when you started the session, Cindy? You navigated over to a section where you looked at skills relevant to a role that you're seeking. And I think a few of us on this call missed how you navigated to that page.
Sure, absolutely. I'm
Oh, it
happy
might have
to
been
do
the
that.
resume as well,
Yeah.
too, right? Was it the resume?
Lise, do you want, I mean, can you share that or do you want me to share it while you're pulling up?
Yeah, I can share it quickly.
Okay,
I
great.
don't have one built already in there, so.
So it's perfect. You can do it and we'll show how it is. Yeah,
Sure.
great. Even better.
Okay. You should see my LinkedIn screen.
Yes.
Okay, fantastic. So what Cindy did is she went, after logging into LinkedIn, she went to her Me section to view her actual profile. And then here under More, there was an option to build a resume. And so I'm going to just try to create this for my profile so that it's a little bit faster. And I'm just going to use a little bit of bare bones here right now. Just to do it quickly. And so you see LinkedIn has created this lovely resume for me. And over here on the right-hand side is where I'm seeing these additional insights. So what I did really quickly was just pick the title of manager. You are going to be much more specific in the type of title that you're looking for, because that's what's going to trigger these keywords.
Yes.
So I did manager really quickly. I'm going to say, let's say I would be looking for professional recruiter roles. Let me just say that. So I'll apply that, and it's going to change some of the keywords. So it's going to tell me what relevant keywords it found in my resume already. And then it's going to suggest quite a few that I need to add if I'm targeting this type of position. And then LinkedIn has, I think it's almost 40,000 skills right now. I mean, they're investing in that. That's growing. Keywords is another way to kind of, if you've got a limit on skills in your profile, which is something that I know LinkedIn is trying to address. But if you do, I still have a limit of 50 skills that I can put on my profile. So keywords is a great way to get around that. And it's suggesting some that I can put in as well in my profile to make sure that it's peppered through my resume.
Will LinkedIn be doing any consolidation of keywords? Because there's so many that are so alike. And
They
if
should.
you don't,
They
search
should.
specifically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should. They're getting very specific. And then I find that needs to happen with industries as well. Industries need to grow too.
Yeah.
So it's a work in progress, but I think, again, if you're looking, the best practice is to look at the positions that you're targeting, at the companies that you're targeting, look for sample role descriptions and try to match the keywords based on that as best you can. And then from your own experience, like, you know, if you've worked in these roles before, you know kind of what the key hard skills are, and focus on hard skills first.
Shiana, if it's okay, can I just ask a quick question? I put it in the chat because I think we're going off to a different section and it's
Sure.
connected to all of this.
Sure, go for it.
Hi, Cindy and Lise. Thank you so much. This is amazing. My question was around the hashtags that show up under your profile. So if you know, as you pulled up Shiana's profile or your profile, it just talks about and hashtags. So is there a way that we could do better with that? Because I'm also at my max of 50.
Right. So you have your max 50, your 50 maxed out. I didn't
Correct.
understand the keyword, what you,
It's the hashtags. So
or the hashtag.
it shows up under your profile as talks about. I can.
Yes,
So that's
correct.
the creative
And that's-
mode.
yes, if you're in creator mode, you can do that.
How
So
do you
it's-
control it? Because it just shows up for me, and I'm trying to see if there is a way that I can actually influence it.
Interesting. I thought you could choose it.
You
No,
can
the algorithm is just picking a bunch for me. Maybe
Well, yeah,
because-
and that's,
option.
and so I think, I'm not sure about the talks about, but I've been getting asked to, comment on articles lately, and it was asking me to comment on specific articles, and it was pulling from skills, but I thought that you could, if you went into creator mode, you could, choose what you are,
To turn it on and off.
yeah,
Yes,
I'm
I
looking at
believe
creator mode
you
right
can
now.
choose and you can also change them.
Yeah. So,
Is that something you could show? Because
yeah, I have it
doesn't look-
open right now. Or Elise, do you have yours open?
Yeah,
Or-
so you should be able to see my LinkedIn profile again on the screen. And then, so when this is me looking at my LinkedIn profile,
can't.
obviously.
I don't for
cannot.
some
you
reason.
can't.
I don't think you're sharing right now, Elise.
Let me just see, let me stop. Okay. Okay, is it? It should be now?
We're seeing it. Yeah.
There we go.
Okay, perfect. Okay, so this is my LinkedIn profile. When I scroll down here to resources, I have 5 resources available, and one of them is creator mode. And this is what you're just gonna click on, right? And so you may have this turned on, and this is where you might be seeing some of this, these options and this content. So I have mine turned off right now. Right? But I can follow here and turn it on. So if you click on here, so mine's showing is off. If you click on here, you should have an option to turn it off.
Yeah, no, I do have it on, and so my adding the topic. So I'm gonna go check that out.
Yeah, so you can
Perfect.
add your own topics and you can select up to 5 hashtags that you can add.
Got it. Got it. Awesome. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. Thank you, Shanna.
Okay, are you ready, Elise? Or you have to reshare.
Yes,
again.
let
You
me,
get to
yeah,
LinkedIn
let me go and
too.
share my
So we're gonna
next,
get,
window.
and I know that we spent a lot of time on this, but we felt like it was important to just give y'all the basics of what you need to look at on your profiles, and you know, we're happy to do more sessions on the LinkedIn Recruiter. We'll get through as many of these as we can. We'll give additional information, and you know, and make this a little more regular so that we can review people's profiles in this setting. One thing I will say, I see there's Melissa. Are you here? Melissa Arskog? So I'll just give some really brief feedback on this so that, and I think through what we've gone through, y'all will probably know. Melissa has just listed Global VP as a title she's in search of, and Leadership Technology Revenue Generator Strategy Builder. So it is going to be, at least I don't know how we'd really kind of find that. I guess we'd assume in sales, Global Vice President. But you see how this list is coming out of sales, marketing. So you need to be very specific in the titles that you're looking for, or it will be hard for us to find. Yeah, so you have
Global Vice President, we've got over 360,000 people. And so if we're putting in just a vague, like one of the skills, what was one of the skills, Cindy, if you could just remind me?
Leadership. Yeah, so let's do leadership to give y'all an example, right, of what it's going to look like. So it's still over 250,000 results. We can put, and then we had technology, revenue generator, and strategy builder. So the other thing that I think both Lisa and I mentioned was that we search on the hard skills. We search on the things that our clients tell us we absolutely have to find someone that can do this. So that is where we go. Revenue generation did reduce it. So that's helpful. And maybe what's technology?
I'll put it as a keyword because it works as and essentially,
Yeah.
right?
Except for it's
Or
not, you typoed it.
oh, my
Okay.
mistake.
I think, unless I don't know how to spell.
No,
anything.
you're no, you do. I don't. That's what it is.
Could be. Okay, so
We still
see,
have-
it's still very, very broad for us. And even if we decided to look at the people who are open to work or active talent, which means that means they've shared their resume on LinkedIn, or they might be experiencing, there's a company that's gone through several layoffs. That we're still going to be 1.3, so 1,300 people that we'll have to go through. I don't know about you, Lise, but when I was doing recruiting, I tried to get it. I mean, I think a manageable but still painful amount of profiles to go through was about 200.
I agree. Yeah, I agree.
Much better to get it down to 50 to 100. So you're trying to show up in our results of 100 to 200 people, and that's what you really want to be doing for the jobs that you are looking for. So now we have another one. Okay, and Shuchi. We'll go through this one too, because I think it's interesting. So we're looking for a CTO, a head of engineering, or a CIO.
PVC.
Rashmi, I'm not sure if you still have your hand up, or if we answered your question.
Putting it down now. Thank
Because
you.
I didn't never put it down. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. So let's see. And then technology transformation leadership.
Todd. FISB.
Here, so I'll put maybe I'll put this into keyword then.
Yeah, see if we can do that. Team builder is another one. That is not something we'll ever search on for recruiters. You can put it in your headline. You can put it, as something you want people to know. I would much rather see in a LinkedIn profile the types of teams and the scale of teams that you've built as more of a result than team builder. Team builder isn't enough information for me. So I'd like to see some examples. When I'm working with clients that want people that have built teams, they have very specific things they want this person to have done and been successful in, or they're looking for them to do. So you want to show some of the scale and show them as results. Okay, so wait, what? Okay, sorry, I thought, okay, so team build, product engineering, there's another one that, did we put that in?
As a title or
No, it's a skill, I think a skill or a keyword. Perfect.
Can I ask, as you're doing this, how are you choosing what to search for right now?
So this is coming specifically from the Google spreadsheet that y'all filled out. So we're just going down the line of the profile of the information that you gave us to try to find of what you wanted to be found for.
Got it. Thank you.
Yeah. So for example, for this person who wants to be found based on these titles and these skills, if the keywords aren't in their profile, if the skills aren't in their profile, they're not going to show up in the recruiter search results. And then the people who are showing up here at the top of our search results of these 500 people likely have more endorsements for the skills. They're more active on LinkedIn. LinkedIn tends to put their active talent at the higher end of the list, and active talent are people who have all-star profiles like Cindy's taken us through the tips for, right? They're people who have shared updates recently on LinkedIn and engaged with different types of content on LinkedIn. And one of the questions I think I saw in the chat was, is it better to apply to a job directly versus to the company site versus LinkedIn? And I think so overall, if you're using LinkedIn as a tool, as you should be, right? It's if you're applying through LinkedIn, you will often get routed to the company's careers page to fill out an actual application. And even if not, it's going to start contributing towards your ranking in search results for LinkedIn. So I would say, I mean, if it's posted on LinkedIn, go through LinkedIn first. But still do apply through the company website if they're prompting you to. Some companies also just prefer to accept applications in LinkedIn, and that's fine too. It'll also count towards your ranking.
And I have a quick question. Amy, I just saw that you put, can you give a little more context about what your comment? So did we made recommendations in the Google spreadsheet for you to add in VP engineering and CTO?
Yeah, I listened to a recording of the first session,
Sure.
One of the main takeaways was to put the role that you're looking for in the headline and in your title. And so I did that. So I'm just surprised that I didn't show up at all.
So you saw, I will say it's not just one thing, right? With LinkedIn, there is an algorithm. There is first, you have to be the all-star profile. So you have to have everything that we talked about with the all-star profile done so that you show up in results. Then you're competing with so let's look up Lise, VP engineering and CTO. And just with that, let's show the results. So that's showing us 540,000 people. So you need to, it's going to be and you're probably, I'm going to guess, not in the top page.
Can I also ask, so this first person that showed up, this person doesn't have those keywords. It's a hardware engineer.
They had it in past.
There it is. Okay. Got it.
So okay. And he might be very active on LinkedIn. He also is, so there's different factors, right? So we have, let's keep on Andrew. Andrew is based in Kitchener, Ontario, which I don't know where that is, Lisa, but he's in the same country you're in. He's a second degree connection. I don't know if he follows, but there's he might be a past applicant. He might be, there are different factors that are making him show up above other people, right? So, and that's all a part of the LinkedIn algorithm that we've been talking about and keep kind of throwing out there. We shared a document last time, and I can kind of it's part of the FAQ, and I can pull it up, but there are many things that contribute. LinkedIn is a business, right? And their business is communication and networking and having engagement. And so the people that engage on LinkedIn get prioritized in the order that they show up. So how often are you posting on LinkedIn? How often are you commenting and interacting with it? So there's all those things, right, that factor in. And also,
Cindy,
yes,
Cindy and Lise, we are almost at time. So just conscious if anyone needs to drop off, the full recording will be posted in the discussion thread, so you can always go back. But for those of you who can save
and pull, any questions or anything, and keep adding to the FAQ and get that posted for y'all, as well.
Yes.
Um,
And then just one quick thing, because we were noticing that several of your top candidates in the searches are based in Canada. Did you specify that? Or is that because Lise is based in Canada
This is
that they're
based in
showing up?
Canada, but she just put United States.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
Maybe
we
it
didn't
was the
specify a
previous search.
location. Yeah, no, we did. So we didn't specify a location in the for that search. So we didn't specify a city, for example, but like, so here I've specified United States and I've clicked open to work to try to kind of lower the search, the number of people we'd have to go through for this search. So if we're just searching based on job title, again, it shows the importance of having skills and appropriate keywords that match the roles you're targeting, because that's how recruiters are going to further narrow down the search.
And
But yeah,
if
so
I were to, that's a good question though, because if I were to go into LinkedIn Recruiter and conduct this search, you'd see a different order of results because it's based on me and my connections. And the other thing that LinkedIn Recruiter does is, how many seats are you connected to, Lise? 6, 7, 8.
Yeah.
So and the majority of the recruiters that Lisa is connected to are in Canada. So if she doesn't specify the place, LinkedIn Recruiter basically connects your connections. So people that would normally be that we wouldn't see. I think you see first, second, and third, and then some option of further than that. But everyone Lisa's connected to, she sees their second, third, she sees the second, third, and next level connections, right? But
so there
most of
really
the
is a
results are gonna
benefit
be-
then. So there's really a benefit then in connecting with multiple recruiters.
multiple recruiters, but also multiple people in companies, I
Right.
mean, you want to spend, a portion of time on LinkedIn, carve out, I have on my calendar every night at 5:30, I'm on LinkedIn doing something for 30 minutes. You want to interact, you want to update something in your profile, you want to make sure you connect with people, you want to follow people, there's just a lot of it that you have to make sure you're doing. But yes, being connected or following a company, you can now also share that you're interested in working for a company. So interested in your company over at the top of Lisa's screen.
How does that show up?
Right there.
Oh, it shows up right there. Okay. And then I just want to make sure we don't miss Irina, who's had her hand raised
Sure.
for a while now.
Hi, Irina.
Hi, I have a question. I got a different perspective from recruiters. I'm a biopharmaceutical professional. To apply through LinkedIn for a job or go to the company side and apply through the company side. So do you have recommendation or perspective on that?
So
Yes.
yeah, at least you want to kind of talk through that.
Sure. I mean, like, there's benefits to both. And I think, so what most companies will do when to have jobs posted on LinkedIn, there's two ways to do it for companies. You either have to buy specific job slots, or you essentially you invest a certain amount of money, and they treat it almost like optimizing like a digital marketing campaign where you can post all of your jobs, but then some are pushed out and promoted to the network based on the money or the budget that you assign to them. But usually what happens, regardless of how the company approaches it, they usually put in a link to LinkedIn to route your application back to their careers page. So when you think you're applying through LinkedIn, when you actually click the apply button, usually to fill out the full application, you are redirected to their site so that they can track that you came from LinkedIn, but they can still get you to sign off on the privacy policy and consent, so they can keep your information on file, so that they can get you to answer the DEI questions or EU questions when it comes to your application. So, and then you add your resume to their database. And I think ideally you would apply through LinkedIn, because it will help your ranking in search results for other things on LinkedIn. So not just for that specific company, but for other recruiters and other companies that are looking for you. Because you're now active on LinkedIn and applying through jobs through LinkedIn, LinkedIn will rank you higher in search results when recruiters are looking for people with your keywords or skill set or experience.
That's
The
very-
other thing,
Mhm.
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, this is very helpful because I had perception from some recruiters that they would rank higher those candidates who are following companies and looking for job postings from the particular companies. But then what I'm hearing from you, I'm actually putting two eggs in two different buckets by applying through LinkedIn, because it's going to go to the portal from the company, and I will increase my chances to be discovered through LinkedIn.